It's the 24th of June 2024. I am on a hang gliding trip to the European Alps for the first time. Today, we are in the small town of Laragne, Montaglan, on the west side of the French Alps. We are going to fly the popular site on the nearby mountain called the Chabre Ridge. It's a 10-mile long east to west ridge with a steep north face and a shallow south slope. 5 hang glider pilots start setting up at 11 a.m. at the top of the ridge. We watch some paragliders launch early and get up slowly on the north side and leave. The wind is very light from the north so far. I launch first at 1 p.m. in a very light cycle at 4,300 feet. The developing clouds suggest good convection, but I don't get any lift as I scratch the vertical cliffs. I enjoy close-up views of the exposed sedimentary folds of limestone, which formed on the ancient Tethys ocean floor over 100 million years ago, and it was lifted up when the Alps formed. Even a little wind into the cliff would have provided usable ridge lift, but there is none today. Fortunately, I managed to find a bumpy and weak but consistent climb that gets me just over the ridge height. I have been told by the local pilots that the best thermals are on the south faces of mountains in the Alps. That's because the south side gets more sun than the north at this high latitude. Another pilot has just launched the south ramp and is going up fast, so I zip over there and get into the same thermal. It takes me up to cloudbase at 7,700 feet. My plan for the day is to fly as large a triangle as possible while keeping the main LZ on glide. So it's not going to be a long distance, but we are here to mainly enjoy the simple scenic flying. We planned the first turn point to be straight north, so I go on glide below the clouds, crossing the narrow Scenic river valley. The forests of this area are protected under the Bahoni Regional Natural Park, and this section of the French Alps is called the Bahoni Massif. The Mediterranean climate here in the Hautes-Alpes province is mild and sunny, and I can imagine myself living in this idyllic setting. My intended turn point is close, but the glide brings me down to the ridge height again at 5,000 feet. This is called Crête d'Hommage. The wind seems to be over the back, and I find a thermal a little way out from the ridge. I'm surprised it's working even with the fully overcast sky. Back at 7,000 feet, I turn back to the ridge and tag the peak with the towers called Rocher du Beaumont. It's time to cut east across the valley and see how far I can go. The town at the north end of the valley is called Serres. This wide north-south valley is called Valle du Bouech, after the river Bouech flowing through it. Getting a buoyant glide, I arrive at a large mountain across the valley, still over 5,000 feet. I am at the western edge of Montagne du Saint-Genis, or Saint Genis Mountain. It's almost 4 miles long and shaped like a giant stadium or a bathtub. Concerned about overdevelopment to the north, and hearing on the radio that everyone else has landed, I'm not so sure if I should continue east or head back to Laragne to our primary landing field. It's on an easy glide 5 miles south, so I fly towards it, hoping to find a climb. The valley is sunny, and there seems to be a convergence in this area. As I arrive over the north side of the town, I fly through a large thermal marked by some hawks circling down low. A few 360s later, I am back to almost 7,000 feet again. It would be a waste to just go land from here. So I head back north to the edge of the clouds and over the eastern edge of the Saint-Genis mountain. Its topography is so unique. Its bowl-shaped is formed due to the intersection of 2 synclinal folds, roughly perpendicular to each other. Topping out at 7,500 feet, I head east to mark the second corner of my triangle, somewhere over the next ridge, which is called Crête de Sel. It shows interesting folds and faults in the exposed limestone face. This section of the Alps east of the Buech is called the Bochain Massif. Wanting to keep the main LZ within glide range, I turned back, flying southwest parallel to the Durance River. This wide valley is a fertile alluvial plain full of fruit and vegetable farms. The ones that look bluish are covered with nets to protect them from pests. Agriculture is a distinct part of French cultural heritage, especially here in Provence. I am getting a buoyant glide and I see a fresh new cumulus cloud growing right over Laragne. So I decide to fly under the cloud to stay high and complete my triangle quickly. The view of the wispies below the cloud is mesmerizing. I know there are no other gliders nearby, otherwise I would stay further away from the clouds. The lift is not strong but widespread, and I'm getting uncomfortably close to the cloud bottom. I see a gap in the cloud ahead and increase my speed to be able to fly through it before it closes. Breaking out the other side, I'm higher than the cloud bottom and get a magical view of the Buech Valley. I haven't felt cold during the flight until now, but I'm at 8,700 feet and it's definitely chilly. I can now finish my triangle on glide with altitude to spare. Heading south, I tag the point called Sommet de la Plate for the final corner of my triangle. Now I just need to get back to launch and close the triangle. The glide takes me right over the gorge of the Miouge River. The winding Miouge River has cut into the limestone tuff to form beautiful cliffs, cascades, beaches, and crystal clear pools. The gorge is a popular location for hiking, biking, and just relaxing. The panoramic view of the Chabre Ridge from this vantage point is impressive. Seeing rain starting just a few kilometers north, I decide it's time to go land after almost 3 hours in the air. I know we will be leaving this area tonight, so I bid it goodbye. Montaglan and Laragne are actually twin towns separated by a small creek. The culture and architecture here is typical of the Provence region, which used to be part of the Roman Empire until about 500 years ago. Our landing field is part of the Montaglan campground south of the town. It would be nice to camp here on the next visit. The wind is not strong and from the south, so I fly right over the campground buildings and have a nice smooth final. I wait a second too long to flare, so it's not a perfect landing. I completed an FAI triangle of about 55 kilometers. An FAI triangle gives maximum points per kilometer in the X Contest scoring system. I look forward to coming back here to fly longer distances.